Regular School Committee of the Town of Foxborough on April 1st, 2013, to order. Mrs. Slattery, due to another conflict, is unable to be with us this evening. The visitors will be first on our agenda tonight. We will do approval of minutes, teaching and learning highlights, Intel Science Talent Search semifinalist, Mr. Alehi Chattopadhyay, FHS Jazz Combo, and I really think we should do this more often. School committee vote to approve the Foxborough Public Schools Policy Manual. School committee vote on school choice participation. Other matters. At the end of the meeting, I will ask for a roll call vote to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing negotiating strategies with union personnel, Foxborough Education Association, professionals, and Foxborough Education Association educational assistants. The committee will not return to open session. Are there any visitors? All right, on to our draft, please, for March 18 minutes.
Second.
Is there any discussion? No? Okay. All in favor? 400. Ah, there, here she is. Just in time.
You have the second item
Oh,
on
no, we have,
in your agenda. You have another item under minutes.
the school committee vote to correct the Massachusetts School Building Authority, the MSBA wording requirement for the Borough Elementary School, the statement of interest, or we take any other action required.
Correct.
So,
So, Madam
We
Chair,
should-
I will turn this over to
to
Mr.
Mr.
Yukna.
Right.
We also have been at the Board of Selectmen discussing the same issue, so I'll let him explain what this issue is about.
Yeah, and I apologize. It's basically what happens is anytime you open up the statement of interest document itself, it changes the date on it. And not realizing that when I gave you the original date, which was February 24th, it obviously will conflict with us opening it up and being able to put in the final dates and print it. So I did confirm with the MSBA, and basically what they have said is to change the minutes that said the February, dated February 25th to be submitted by April 10th.
Okay.
So all I'm asking you is that you open up your previous minutes and correct that wording, because this wording is what they are looking for us to submit. The selectmen have done that and basically, redone their minutes and submitted those. So it would be a vote to rescind your previous vote of acceptance of the minutes from February 25th, to make the corrections as noted, and then to close and accept those minutes. The other option you have is basically just to revoke those into today's minutes, but then we would have to have a separate meeting to just revoke today's minutes, because I obviously have to submit this before April 10th. So
Just
Motion
as
to
a,
rescind the previous February 25th minutes?
I'll second
With-
that. Oh, are you
Yeah,
going to
do
do it
you
all
want
in
me
one
to
motion?
include the
Or
whole-
No, we need it in
No.
two steps.
Yeah,
just
Okay.
so I'll second that motion.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? 400 to rescind the previous.
And
Minutes?
just as a point of clarity, we also did obviously double check this to make sure that this is the appropriate way to do it. And they said this is exactly the way to do it. Who is it exactly we talked to?
Glenn Kuchar from MASC.
so it's basically just to make sure that your reference is accurate, that when you're talking about the statement of interest, it's not the statement of interest of February 25th. What they're saying is a statement of interest that is submitted by April 10th. So, because it is a living document on their site. So that's really the only thing, so it's accurately referenced, not by the date that Bill first put the statement of interest into their site, but by the date it's due. That's how they
So it's
prefer to
by
have us
April,
reference
so we
it.
need to change the wording to say by April.
It says
10th.
to be submitted by April 10th, 2013.
Right.
In the red. You'll see it in the red stripe through. So now you need a you need to have a vote to.
So I'll motion to approve the new amended minutes for the February 25th meeting with the April 10th day included.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor? 400. Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you very much.
I guess, what's that phrase, the devil's in the details, when it comes to
Oh,
taking
boy.
my list.
Yes. And now, I guess you will be introducing our,
Yes, and I see she has arrived, so I'm going to see if I have your name correctly, but we are really excited that tonight's first teaching and learning highlight, to let the audience remind the audience, that we start every school committee meeting with something wonderful that our students are doing, or that teachers are doing, or that the two are doing together. You can see we are live televised at home, and people watching at home. So we would love to invite our Intel Science Talent Search semifinalists, which is an unbelievable national achievement, up to our guest table, which is right here. And I'm going to take a stab at your name, and if I'm wrong, you tell me. It's Haley Chattopadhyay?
Yeah, you got it.
I had to rehearse. Right up. We would love to have you tell us a little bit about this. It was really the most wonderful news, and we congratulate you. So tell us a little bit about what brings you here.
All right, I have a few talking points, just so I stay on track. So what my project was basically about was creating an environmentally friendly battery. And how was I going to do this? I actually used algae. So in the past, I had actually been doing work with algae to actually use it to take in carbon dioxide so that there's less in the air contributing to global warming, and then using that algae to create biofuel. But the whole process is very expensive because extracting lipids from algae is really expensive. You have to dry the algae, figure out how you're going to get the lipids out. So I started to think, okay, what else could I do with this algae? So I started to think about how we have a lot of batteries right now. Obviously they're really important and we need them for everything, but like one of the big problems that we see with them is that they're not environmentally friendly. You have to dispose of them in landfills. So I wanted to think about maybe I could use, I had actually found researchers in Sweden who kind of started to do a little bit of work with this, and they started to look into maybe using algae, or not just algae, but just cellulose in general, and paper, to try to make batteries, and to use that to power things instead. So I actually got in contact with some of these professors. They were at Uppsala University in Sweden, and I emailed them, and I just hoped that they would respond. And I was really lucky, and they sent me papers, and they said, this is what we've been doing. And that kind of inspired me and got me going. So what I actually did, they're actually just like Marimo balls, like you'll find them in aquariums. They're just like these algae balls. And I added a bunch of chemicals, did a bunch of things to them, and extracted the cellulose out. And the reason I use algae cellulose as opposed to, wood cellulose or just normal paper is that it has 100 times the surface area. And that's really critical because this algae cellulose, it's not conductive by itself. It has to become conductive. So I actually coated it in a conducting polymer called polypyrrole, and that's how it became conductive. So that high surface area was really critical and really important. So then I did some tests to try to understand what kind of device I'd created. I had used, I worked in the University of Bridgeport, which is in Connecticut, about 3 hours away. So I would have to go 3 hours and then spend the day at the lab and then come back for 3 hours. And they didn't actually have scanning electron microscopy or transmission electron microscopy, which would give you an idea of the surface characteristics of the devices that I had created. They're actually literally paper batteries. And so I wanted to understand the surface characteristics and what they looked like on the inside as well. So if I didn't have these, I had to figure out how I was going to obtain those microscopes. So these aren't really just microscopes that you can buy. You have to get them in a lab, and you have to use them in the lab. So I had contacted as many professors as I could find, and at Brown University, I was really lucky. One of the professors there, he offered to let me use theirs. So I went to Brown, and he trained me for the day, because you have to be trained to be able to use these microscopes. So he trained me for the day, and I learned how to use them, and then after that I was able to get an idea of like the device I had created and really how the algae was layered and how the polypyrrole was layered. And something that was really critical that I added was graphene. So this was, it's basically graphite, but if you peel off the top layer. And this is actually a relatively new material. A scientist got a Nobel Prize for it in about 2010. So it has an extremely high conductivity, but they're not really sure what to do with that conductivity at this moment. So they're actually looking for applications of graphene. So I used that to increase the conductivity of my device, because polypyrrole is great for conducting electrons, but it doesn't have, it's not a source for those electrons. So I used graphene as the source of those electrons. So I actually tested different amounts of graphene to see if there was an upper limit to how much graphene I could add, and I actually didn't find one. You can just continue to add graphene, and it's not an extremely expensive material. So that's actually a really great way to increase the conductivity of these paper devices. I also did a few other tests to using like multimeters and cyclic voltammetry to get an idea of the current density of my devices, to get an idea of how long the shelf life of these devices, how long they would last just by themselves if you don't use them. So I found that graphene actually helps with that as well. So the batteries last longer. They're paper thin. They're literally, like I said, they're just our paper. So they're paper batteries, and that makes them biodegradable. So they're much more environmentally friendly compared to the batteries that we use right now.
Haley, this research, I don't know what I'm more impressed by, the research you're actually doing or your ability to communicate such a complex scientific concept and
With
make
passion.
it meaningful to our everyday life, make it relevant. But this has taken you sort of all over the world.
Absolutely.
Can you tell the committee and the people watching at home, like, what has happened to you this year as a result of this Intel search?
So many things. First of all, of course, Intel, which is huge, and only about 300 students are selected to be semifinalists. I also just recently went to Israel. I applied for, like, it's actually the International Sustainable Energy Conference, and they pick one person to represent the entire United States. So I got to go there, and I worked with two other members, one from Lithuania and one that was from Israel, and we worked on a project improving LED efficiency. But it was actually this project and other algae projects I had been doing that I put in my application and talked about, because they wanted essays and they wanted to see what kind of work you had been doing, and they saw that my environmental work was really well aligned with their mission, sustainable energy. So I went and I got to work with them on improving LED efficiency. We won first. It was amazing to get to present with them. And I've also gotten to go, I think last year was to Vancouver, to the American Junior Academy of Sciences. I was selected, I went to MIT and I presented my work, and I was selected to go. I was second place, and then this year I went again, and I was first place, so I got to go to Boston for the American Junior Academy of Sciences again. So I've been really blessed. I recently got like a Henry David Thoreau scholarship, again talking about just my research and my environmental work. So it's been really amazing to do this work and see that it can really take me places, as well as teach other people about sustainable energy, about environmentalism, and what we can do for our future.
Can we applaud, please?
Yes.
Mrs. Papa.
Just colleges are just now really informing our students of where they have been accepted to. And I had just gotten a note from Haley's mom. And so would you mind sharing with us your choices of schools over the last 2 days? Just had acceptances from.
Yeah, so Harvard, Stanford, Yale, Princeton, Columbia, UC Berkeley, Northwestern, and I'm currently a finalist for a full scholarship to Duke.
Oh, wow.
I think that's another one.
I don't know how you're going to decide.
I don't know either.
It's like picking between, filet mignon and filet mignon.
It's true.
I hesitate to say any question.
I'm just blown away. I
I
think
know,
this is so impressive and such a great presentation. I don't have any questions, but I'm completely impressed. I can't wait to see what you're going to do when you get out of college, and good luck to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Haley, I want to ask you, how did you get started in your interest in science? And what do you hope to do down the road?
I think a big part of it was my sister had done a lot of science fairs. Growing up and seeing like where that could take her, she had done international science fair, which I did as well my sophomore year, and I really saw how it took her all over the world, and she was able to learn a lot from because when you go to a science fair, they really take you seriously. They talk to you as if you are a scientist, a fellow scientist, not just a student coming presenting your work that you've been doing. So I think that seeing that and seeing the way that the treatment that she got, it was like really inspiring to not just be taken as a student, but taken really seriously. So that kind of got me into science fair itself, and then I think going down the road, taking classes, and the way I was really inspired, I think, by especially bio and physics. I also really enjoyed chemistry, but just bio and physics, I think, really drew me to science in the beginning. And so just kind of along the road, I've just like become more and more passionate about it, I think.
What do you hope to do down the road?
I think maybe hopefully become a professor at a university sometime. I'm definitely going to be majoring in science. So.
Great. Best of luck.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I see Mr. Charpentier, obviously, how could you be more proud of a science student than this?
I wish I could take credit.
It's unbelievable. But I want to tell you, we're always trying to work harder to find ways to help students find their passion and their interest and their, whatever it is they can be really great at or inspired by. And it's unbelievable what you've done to do that for yourself.
Thank you.
Really.
Thank you so
It's
much.
just unbelievable. So really congratulations, and we're all so proud. And when you're famous, don't forget we're Foxborough.
Never. Thank you so much for
That's
having me.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Speaking of fabulous,
Yes.
in another way, as you recall, at a recent meeting, the committee approved overnight travel for our jazz combo to travel to the Charles Mingus competition. And we said that night that we would have them back and show us a little bit about why they were finalists in the Charles Mingus competition. So we have Alex Olson, keyboard. We have Kevin Scollins playing some kind of guitar. I like to say I know what it is, but what kind of guitar is it?
Just guitar.
Just a guitar. I'm always afraid when I say something regular, like, well, it's this instead of that. We have Nick Adair on drums, and we have Alexa Dumont on bass. So if you'd like to tell us a little bit about the Charles Mingus, you went for the weekend. If you recall, very, very few jazz combos across the country are invited. So this is the first time we get to see why it was that you achieved at that outstanding level. So take it away.
Do you want to play first? Yeah. We'll play first.
Whatever you like.
So, guys. You want another 5 minutes? Awesome. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Would any of you like to elect yourself spokesperson and grab one of the microphones and just tell us a little bit about Mingus? So I'll give you a little throwaway. So my understanding is that you have to take a piece by Mingus and make it your own in some way. So it does involve collaboration. So I think that's a little bit different than people understand, that usually it's musical performance as is. So tell us a little bit about that process. You can all, oh yeah, you can all come up, or you can leave him all by himself.
Basically, in rehearsal, we played through a bunch of Charles Mingus' tunes, and we decided which ones we thought would showcase us the best. And from there, we just played, and what came out of it, so we just turned it into our own arrangement and tried to do something original that we thought would be distinguished us from everyone else.
Kevin, remind me what year you guys all are.
I'm a senior.
Yeah.
I'm a junior.
I'm a junior. I'm a senior.
And did you do this last year, Kevin, do I remember? Or did anybody do it last year?
We didn't make it last year, but we did try it.
You competed?
Yep.
Yeah, congratulations. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Any questions? Otherwise, I'll
Well,
have some
and
news to
actually, I was
read.
talking with Alex before. Could you let them know your happy dilemma of the list of choices you have from which to choose where to further your music studies?
Yeah, Kevin and I are both applying as music majors to college, and we were fortunate to get into some pretty good schools. I was accepted into Manhattan School of Music, New England Conservatory, the New School for Jazz and Contemporary Music, UMass Amherst, and Berkeley.
Any thoughts?
And how about you?
I'm deciding between the New School for Jazz, Berkeley, and Purchase College.
Wonderful choices.
Equally impressive as a Haley. And while you're standing there, I'd love to read a little music department news instead of waiting for other matters, since we have actual music students. So there's been a lot going on in the music department. We want to congratulate our 2 jazz bands from Foxborough High School who had outstanding performances at the recent Massachusetts Jazz Educators Association, MAJE, Annual State Finals Jazz Band Festival and Competition. The festival was held in Framingham and featured 18 high school jazz bands that were selected for the states based on their district festival for performances 2 weeks ago, which is now about 3 weeks ago. The FHS Jazz Lab Band was awarded a gold medal in Division B. The band performed Blue Train by John Coltrane, Cantaloupe Island by Herbie Hancock, and Sunny Moon for Two by Sonny Rollins. The following members were recognized with outstanding musician citations from the judges: Curtis Hudson, flute; Tommy Watson, trombone; Alexa DeMont, bass; and Ben Howell, guitar. The FHS Jazz Ensemble was awarded a gold medal in Division A, 2 gold medals. The Jazz Ensemble performed Second Line by Duke Ellington, Star-Crossed Lovers by Duke Ellington, and the Fables of Faubus by Charles Mingus. The following members were awarded with outstanding musical citations by the judges: Chrissy Cavallaro, clarinet; Johnny Mitchell, trombone; Angie Jepson, alto sax; Alex Olson, piano; Kevin Scollins, guitar; Alexa Dumont, bass. In addition, Kevin Scollins was selected as co-MVP for the entire A division, and Foxborough was the only high school with 2 bands in those state finals. So if you're wondering where you can hear more of that fabulousness, it's at the annual FMA Jazz Festival, Friday evening, May 17th, 7 p.m. Congratulations to all of you.
I would also like to congratulate Alexa, because while we were at the Mingus Festival, she won an Outstanding Soloist Award and got to perform with the Mingus Big Band, which is an excellent professional jazz
That's
band.
right. She did. So, wonderful. And if that weren't enough, Mr. Massey is on the cover, and he's the feature story of this month's School Band and Orchestra magazine. He has a wonderful article in there, Creating a Culture of Musical Excellence, and you are the epitome of musical excellence. So thank you so much. That's wonderful.
Do you think we can ask them to play encores and skip executive session tonight?
I don't have a vote, but I would vote for it if I did.
I don't think that's a legal vote.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Good luck with your
Thank you.
choices.
Thank
there
you, too.
And your careers.
Say what?
They need about 5 minutes to break down and stuff.
Oh, yes, that's fine.
That's
They
okay. They can
do whatever
that's
they
no
like to
problem.
do. And Haley, you can stay for the rest of the meeting, or you can do whatever you like. You don't feel free you have to stay, because most people, when their time is over, they don't stay for the rest of the evening unless they're fascinated.
And seeing as I can't create encores for you tonight.
That was wonderful.
That was great.
Our students are doing something.
The excellence in all areas of the curriculum are just amazing, just so impressive. And you know what too that I noticed it from all of these students is there's such an enthusiasm and passion for what it is that they do, and you can see when they speak about it, when they play their music, when they talk about it. I just think that is so striking too.
I mean, there's another example, just all around us tonight and out in the cases out front, monumental art. And this is their
I
exhibit.
noticed that.
I mean, I didn't dare put up our school committee sign over that. I wouldn't touch that. But to study some of the examples in the showcases outside when we leave would be good. All right, school committee vote to approve the Foxborough Public Schools Policy Manual. We have updated throughout the year. The most notable ones were several it was state mandated with correct political phrasing now and some cross-referencing. So did any of you find any others that you felt we needed to address at this time? No? Are we ready to take a vote?
So Bev, these are no new actions at this point. This is just approving the manual and composite.
Yeah, so
its entirety.
in its entirety, so that's the one, the rest of this year and next year will be based on.
A motion to approve.
I'll second Bruce's motion.
Any discussion? No? Okay. Vote 4-0-0. Thank you. And now school committee vote on school choice participation.
Yes.
Mrs. Spinelli.
As the committee knows, each year you vote whether you want to participate in school choice or not. Usually have a little policy in there, but I didn't see it in my copy, so I don't know why it's there. But I'll just remind you, it's a very short piece of the law. Every community has an opportunity to decide if they want to participate in school choice, which, as you know, is when you would take in students from other towns for a tuition fee. Foxborough has never participated in school choice, but it is a requirement that you vote as a board annually whether or not to participate in it. So it's up to you.
We
It's
have
the same-
not done that.
No, and none of the communities around us do, but that's, everybody makes their own decision as to whether you have interest in that. Pretty short piece of laws and all that stuff.
It's been our practice that we haven't done that, so.
So perhaps we should continue with that. This needs to be a formal vote and second, formal motion and second.
I guess the motion would be that you choose not to participate.
To make a motion not to participate in school choice for this calendar year.
I'll
upcoming
second the
calendar
motion.
year.
All right, is there any further discussion? Vote 4-0-0. Other matters?
This is a nice, short,
I know.
regular
That's nice.
meeting, but I think that's probably in part because we had some significant executive session
We do.
discussion, is that right?
Right.
Trying to balance
Yes.
it out.
They're trying to balance, right?
I do have one thing. I
Yes.
wanted to commend Mrs. Spinelli for her guest conducting at Bandorama.
Yes.
Oh.
Say our
Yes.
music excellence extends
Yeah.
from the youngest students all the way through the superintendent.
All the way
There was
through.
no actual conducting involved, if you
Oh.
look closely.
Bandorama itself was wonderful, and I
It
think
was.
it's a great job of showcasing our students when they come into the music program and all the way through, and it was wonderful as usual, so.
Yes,
And
it
it was fun to see you as a guest
It
conductor
was a
as
wonderful
well.
event.
It is. And it's funny. I spoke to Mr. Massey about that, kind of inquiring whether other communities do something similar, and not many of them do it. And I think it really does showcase the progression from the lower grades to what, not only for parents but for the students, for them to see how
Right.
they are going to aspire, to
Yes.
what they can become.
It's a big deal for the middle school bands to play in the high school in the gym.
It
and
is.
then to see the progression and see other musicians having the same joy they're having and the same excitement, I think is great when you kind of do that panoramic view. It's really,
I was really impressed by the fifth graders who were so attentive and just so respectful and looking at all of the other grades when they were participating. I thought that was really
Well,
nice to see.
And it's always impressive to me with the fifth grade band. I have a fifth grader, I'll
Yes.
disclose
Yeah.
that. But when they start out, I know neither of my kids ever picked up a sheet of music before they entered middle school. And to see where they're at in December, and then to see where they're at in March, and then at the end of the year, they do an amazing job of teaching these kids how to play an instrument and how to listen to one another as musicians. So it's really a great program.
it's great. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Any others? No?
I have just one little, I also recently went to the high school talent show. Had a really enjoyable time. I sat in the same row as the 4 judges. Mrs. Myers-Packler and 3 other faculty members were the judges. And a lot of kids get up there and show off a talent that you may or may not have ever thought of before. And I thought they were wonderful. It was a really fun night, and it's really nice to see the kids outside the academic element, but just having a good time and cheering each other on. So I enjoyed that as well. And the only other thing is we continue to talk about technology, and will be in the coming months, especially as part of our plan. So you know that one of our capital improvement projects is to is to go with a wireless environment at the high school, to bring your own device. And just to let you know, those conversations are happening at other levels as well. So our 8th grade teachers actually asked Mrs. Abrams recently if they could pilot a bring your own device in a confined environment. We don't have wireless at the Ahern, so it's not that they're going to be on the internet, but could students, if they wanted, bring a tablet, an iPad, something they could take notes on that could go back and forth with them, knowing that they can't have access to the internet anyway in school, and went to Mrs. Abrams with it, and she's, if she hasn't already, she's sending communications home to the parents. Parents would sign off acknowledging that they're responsible for whatever the device is. And for some students, that, you know, that's their note-taking method, that, you know, they're the digital natives, so to speak. So that's an innovative idea that our faculty came up with, that with parent consent and understanding that we're going to try. So we're trying some things in technology that are a little bit more, you know, not as risky, but something that, so that we can help kids start moving forward in terms of working in a digital environment. So if you're an 8th grade parent, you may see that coming home if you haven't already.
That's a good idea.
I think that's wonderful. Great.
Excellent.
I think it's great when teachers come up with an idea and say, this might work, we're willing to do it. And if eventually that becomes a regular part of our practice, it's a really nice transition to high school.
Mm-hmm.
Deb and Amy, all's quiet and business as usual in the district? I know we have a big MCAS day tomorrow, right?
Oh, yeah, good luck to all
Been a
our
lot of
students
MCAS days
tomorrow.
lately.
Yeah. I think tomorrow is one of the bigger ones, isn't it? Like 5th
Grades
through...
5 through 8, yeah.
Right, and the one that was in the 7th grade that was postponed seems to have gone very smoothly.
Yes,
the
that was the
4th,
one,
7th,
the
and
Department of
10th, yeah.
Education
Yep.
postponed the writing assignment.
Right.
Yeah, 4th and 7th. So yes, it's the beginning of MCAS season. Well, it already started.
Yeah. School days, I mean, snow days are thankfully passed. I think we've been plenty clear about the last day of
let's
school
hope.
at this
I'm going to
point.
knock on this wooden gavel.
Will we get a budget update next meeting, I assume?
Yes, we had one at the last meeting, and we're trying to do the monthly, so we'll have that.
Very good.
Very good.
So other than that, it's been good, quiet.
All right. I will entertain a motion by roll call vote, to go into executive session.
So moved.
All right. Mr. Gardner?
Aye.
Aye. Chair votes aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
How many more meetings down there? Time.